What's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a Q&A. I actually got a lot of questions for the Q&A, so I will try and talk quick and go through as many as I can without making this video too long. Let's get started. The first question is, do you remember the moment you started wanting to recover? I don't, because there wasn't one exact moment. It was a super gradual thing that took months to progress. It took me 2 months of inpatient intensive treatment before I started to have that mind shift change and before I started to want to get better and want to fight back. Healthy Minded Jess asked, what are your tips for getting out of a funk mood-wise? If it's just like a day-to-day thing where I just kind of wake up and I'm not feeling the best, I find going outside or doing some healthy exercise really helpful. If this is a more long-term and kind of prevailing thing where I've just had a low mood the entire week, or it's not something that I just can be fixed by some fresh air, what I find helpful is trying to remove whatever the trigger is. If there's anything that's causing my mood to be low, like for me it's stress, so trying to reduce my stress and then my mood will lift. So trying to reduce the trigger, if there is one, there isn't always one. Another thing when I get into those longer lows is making to-do lists and trying to be productive. Trying to get out of the house and not just stay in my room, but be productive, get out of the house and get things done that I need to do. I find being productive always makes me feel a lot better and feel like I've done something and like I beat the depression. Like I didn't let it get to me. I didn't just lay in bed all day. And lastly, being social. And I'm talking about social interactions that you really want to do and really find help you feel better. So go for coffee with your best friend, go on an adventure, go for a hike, just have that good connection with someone. And honestly, maybe it's your therapist that you can need to connect with. What is your favorite thing about being a YouTuber? The coolest part about being a YouTuber is getting to connect with you guys. Like you guys have no idea how much you mean to me and how much all your comments and kind words really help me and just like they mean so much to me. And so I just feel so lucky and so blessed to be able to be connected with you guys and to be able to meet you guys. And I feel so honored that you guys share your stories with me. Like that means so much to me. Do you have a favorite quote? In terms of eating disorder recovery, I have a few favorite quotes. So I'll actually just put some on the screen right now because I can't find them. So when I'm editing, I'll like put them on the screen. Okay, so the next question is, do you have tips for eating fear foods? You have to eat fear foods if you want to recover. You're not going to recover by eating foods that are easy for you and eating amounts that are easy for you and sticking to safe foods. So it comes down to if you want to recover and if you're going to work for your recovery, you have to eat your fear foods and you have to challenge those eating disorder voices. I know that can be so hard, so it's totally understandable that you would avoid them and maybe not manage to do them right now. Is there any support that you could implement? Can you ask your parents to give you meal support and maybe eat the food with you? Or can you bring it to your therapy session and you have it with your therapist? Having the support of other people, maybe your best friend, can really help. And what I find really helpful when having challenging food is asking myself why I'm eating this and answering that with all of the reasons why I want to recover and all of the reasons why I want to fight my eating disorder, because that's why you're doing that. That's why you're challenging your fear food. You're doing it because you want to recover, because you know your eating disorder won't make you happy, because you want to break those rules and that control it has over you. So remind yourself of that when you're eating your fear food. Do you have any advice on how to stop being so hard on yourself? I could make a whole video about this. This is such a hard thing. I have so much trouble with this too, with a lot of perfectionism things. I think the biggest thing is you can't set such high expectations on yourself. The high expectations that we're setting on ourselves are often super unrealistic, and I think it's so important to set reasonable expectations and reasonable achievable goals. And then you can celebrate when you accomplish them instead of getting mad at yourself and feeling super terrible when you don't achieve ones that weren't realistic for you in the first place. I guess give yourself that permission to struggle and that permission to not do as well as you think you should have done. Like I need to give myself permission to not do well on a test sometimes because things have been really hard at home. It's understandable that I'm not going to be able to do as well on this test, so I'm giving myself permission to do that without being hard on myself. Do you think there's anything that you can give yourself permission for that might help you kind of make an exception or feel like it's okay to not quite hit that high expectation that you have of yourself? Maybe it's just taking it into account that things are really hard right now, so you might not be able to perform as well as you want. 2 people asked about how to eat normally, how to recognize when I'm hungry and when I'm full. Can you post a meal plan where we can get some tips on how to eat normally? And then also, do you have any tips on how to not care about what/when you eat, how to eat more normally? Actually, if you guys haven't seen my last video, it was a huge video all about food and nutrition and how to eat normally and like what's the meal plan that I followed in all of my treatments for recovery. So if you guys haven't seen that video, I think that will answer your questions, so you will link it first thing in the description. In terms of the how to recognize when I'm hungry and full, engaging in your eating disorder for a long time can really mess up your hunger cues. It will take a while of eating regularly again to get them back on track and get you hungry at the meals and then full when you've had the right amount. So for the time being, it might be just to eat mechanically. It might be just to know that this is the amount you should be eating. So whether or not you're hungry, you have to eat this amount because that's the amount that your body needs and that's what is your meal plan. That would be something to discuss with a dietitian so that it could be tailored to you exactly. What's your favorite thing to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? For breakfast, I really love having oatmeal. I also really like having toast with avocado and eggs on it. I think that's really good. For lunch, I normally just have leftovers. I don't really have a favorite thing to eat for lunch. And for dinner, I really love any sort of pasta. I really like stir fries. I like spring rolls. Honestly, like I'm not a picky eater. Like I have a lot of foods that are hard for me because of my eating disorder, but the only things I really don't like are beans and mashed potatoes. As long as it doesn't have beans or mashed potatoes, I'll probably like it. Current favorite song. Ooh, guys, I love my favorite song, which is probably a given. My favorite songs. They will all be linked in the description. Favorite sport? Boxing. I don't even know why I had to think about that. It's like 110% boxing. I also love soccer too. I really struggle listening to other people talking about diets, healthy eating, going to the gym, and exercising. Have you had a similar experience? If so, how did you manage it? Oh my gosh, I relate to this so much because so much of my eating disorder was about eating healthy and exercising and going to the gym. So the fact that I need to change that, but that other people can still do it is hard to deal with. And I know just in general that can just be super triggering. If it's someone that you're close to and feel comfortable with, try setting a boundary. Try just saying like, hey, you know what, like that's actually pretty triggering for me. Do you mind if we talk about something else? I've actually had to talk to some of my friends and just be like, hey, can you not send me Snapchats of you at the gym because I find it really triggering. And they've all been great. They're all like, oh yeah, of course, I'm so sorry. So they've all been great. But it's also, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, just honestly, I just try and change the conversation. And also what I find helpful is recognizing that you're in a different place than they are. For them, it's okay for them to eat healthy and exercise and go to the gym and whatever. It's okay because they're doing it in a healthy way. They're not sick. They don't have an eating disorder. So it's a completely different situation. They can do what they want. They don't have an eating disorder, but we need to do something different right now because we need to get better from our eating disorders, and that's our focus. And if going to the gym and exercising and eating healthy isn't going to help you recover, then don't do it. And so I know it's really difficult when other people are talking about it, but just try and recognize that you're sick, and so you need something different than what they do. And you're sick, so you can't do everything that they can do. It's no different than if you had a broken leg. You couldn't exercise with your broken leg because your leg needs rest. You're just gonna hurt yourself more if you exercise on it. It's no different with an eating disorder. I know that's really hard though, so I'm so sorry you're having to deal with that. She also asked, how did you move away from veganism? Was there one thing that persuaded you to transition back to not being a vegan? At all the treatment programs that I've been to, none of them tailor to vegan diets. So in order to go to those treatment centers, I had to eat dairy and eggs, and I could not be vegan. And what persuaded me to not go back to a vegan diet when I left those treatment centers is the fact that for me, veganism was a very big part of my eating disorder. I was never a true vegan in that I lived the lifestyle and that it was for the animals and the right reasons. I was vegan because it was convenient for my eating disorder and because it was a very big form of restriction for me. So I know for me that's not healthy, and that's not the reasons that I should be going vegan. So that's why I did not go back to a vegan diet after I left treatment. Are there any other YouTubers that you like to watch that do specific mental health / eating disorder support videos? One person that I really love who makes great eating disorder videos is named Bethany. I will have her linked below. And also Melanie Murphy also makes some videos about eating disorders and recovery that I absolutely love. So I will also have her linked. And if I can think of any other people post filming, I will also leave them in the description. How do I support my friend with an eating disorder when I have one as well? This can be a really sticky situation. Supporting a friend with an eating disorder can go great. It can motivate you both, it can inspire you both, you can challenge yourselves together, you can go out to eat together, and you can really help each other with your recovery and bring each other up. Or it can also be very, very, very triggering, and it can really go downhill. First, just make sure you're putting your own recovery first. Not that hers isn't important, but she needs to put hers first also, and you need to put your recovery first. So if at any time there's things that are triggering you, or it's not beneficial for you to try and be supporting her, make sure you're focusing on yourself and putting your recovery as your top priority as opposed to putting her recovery over yours. And also just think about how you would like to be supported, because chances are what you find helpful and what means a lot to you will also mean a lot to her. Try and support her how you would want to be supported. You can try complimenting her on things other than her physical appearance, because her physical appearance doesn't matter, it's what's inside that counts. So try and maybe bring some attention to that, and also recognize that you can't fix her. You can't force her to recover if that's not where she's at. And if that's the case, then you might need to give her a bit of space. And so those are all of the questions that I can get to today. I hope I answered some of your questions and managed to help a few of you. I love you guys so much. As always, guys, feel free to email me if you have any questions, you need advice, you just need a friend, or you want someone to talk to. Please don't feel nervous about emailing me. I'm so happy to get your emails, and I'll always respond and do whatever I can to help. Or you can reach out to me on Instagram and follow me on that platform. So with that being said, I will see you guys next video. Bye, guys.